Hello, I'm Drake. Welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we cover real, magical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. Today, with Yule on the way, we're going to teach you how to make wassail, so stay tuned. Okay, today I'd like to talk about a traditional beverage that was served during the Winter Solstice or Yule, called wassail. Now, a lot of people honestly have not actually heard of wassail, and honestly, I hadn't for the longest time until I started doing more research. It's not really something that's talked about a lot. I think mulled wines and ciders have really kind of taken the forefront, and even homemade eggnogs. However, if you think about it, there is an old Christmas song that used to be sung, or holiday song, however you want to approach it. Here we come a wassailing. And that song actually is talking about the beverage. Because there used to be a tradition, and actually it was probably a bit more like trick or treat than it was what we think of today as modern caroling. But people would go around and they would sing songs, particularly this one, Here We Come a Wassailing. And the tradition was simple. You would sing, they would give you a few extra coins for your purse, and they would also offer you up a strong drink or beverage, an alcoholic punch of sorts. Very similar to mulled wine, in fact. Really the only major difference is mulled wine is just that, it's mulled wine, where wassail is traditionally a ale and apples, and it can contain wine and or cider. So it was very apple heavy, which apples are a very strong symbol during this time of year, as they represent immortality, love, healing, good health, prosperity, all these things that we're looking to have in the coming year as the year begins to warm up, spring starts to come in, and we start the cycle all over again. Now here in a second we're going to go down and I'm going to walk you through how we make a wassail here at our house. We have a slightly modern recipe. It's a lot easier than many of the older recipes. And if I get a chance, I may actually do a video sharing a more traditional recipe. I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but I may actually try to share that. So in the description of this video and in the blog that this video is attached to, we'll also include the recipe for the wassail. That way you don't have to try and write it down as we're going through. Now, from my research, wassail, the word wassail, actually comes from the Old Norse word Wassail. And that became the Old English word Wassail, which actually meant to be in good health, and it also meant strong drink. So it's very easy to see how wassail got its name, because it is both a strong drink and it is a drink that is meant to bring good health and good fortune and all that through the coming year. Now, other than the ingredients for this particular recipe, the only thing you're going to need is a crock pot. I actually use a 6-quart crock pot, and I'll go ahead and link a crock pot below in case you don't have one. Where I grew up, everyone had one, but just in case, I'll go ahead and link one below. And a 6-quart is probably where you want to go following this recipe, because it does make quite a bit, and since it does have ale in it when you're making it, it can tend to foam up. So what little room you'll have left, it's good to have that cushion just in case. We also use something called holiday spice. This is a mixture that I keep around the house, and again, I'll link how to blend that particular spice in the description and in the blog below. And for all those people who keep asking me where I get those spice containers on my fridge anytime I do the Kitchen Witch videos, the holiday spice is mixed up in one of those, so I'll go ahead and put a link to where I do get those also below. Now, I know you're all tired of hearing me talk, so let's go make some wassail. Okay, so we're going to start putting this together. So, if you hear any noise, I do have an elf helping me measure out some stuff. So, all right, first thing you're going to want to do, we're making this a very simple, easy, modern day wassail. Now most wassails are made in a Dutch oven. We are going to use a 6-quart crock pot. And you will want to cook this at low heat for a few hours before serving. So this is perfect. You don't even have to think about it. Now the first part of this wassail, you're going to want a good ale. I'm not getting paid, so I can't tell you what this is, but a good winter ale will work. And you'll want 3 bottles of that ale. Do your best to pour it in without making it foam too much. And if you're worried about losing, believe it or not, the losing beer to foam is actually a myth. The only thing you lose is carbon. You lose no liquid. So for those people who are worried about that, don't. Now we'll get 2 of these in and we'll add our first spices, which we have here a tablespoon of cinnamon. Just dump that straight on the top. And I got 1 cup of brown sugar. Okay, and just stir that in a little bit. And the reason you want to mix these in as you're going along, let me scoot this over here so I'm not on the camera as often. Not that you come to see my face, but this will foam up as you're stirring a little bit, so if you can mix it in a little as you go, it's helpful. And you don't have to super mix it because as it heats, the brown sugar and everything will melt right in there. And we're going to go ahead and pour that 3rd bottle of ale in. Now you can slice up apples and add to this. That's fine. It's actually pretty good, though it gives it kind of an apple saucy texture. If you don't like that, leave the apples out. And this is our holiday spices, right? Okay. And we're also going to be adding 1 tablespoon of a mixture we call holiday spices. I'll include a link to the blog post with this video that'll show you the exact recipe we're using, all the directions and everything. So we'll go ahead and get that added in there. Now, since we're not adding whole apples or anything, all wassail does have some form of cider in it. So we're going to use a nice hard cider. Pick your favorite, or whatever you can get a hold of in some areas. Now I do like to add the cider second. It foams up less. Alright, 2 bottles of cider. And then you want to add some maple syrup. Again, this helps get that holiday kind of cinnamony baked apple taste. And I cannot read my measuring cup. 1/2 cup of maple syrup. I was counting on being able to read that. And we'll be needing that again. And now our 3rd bottle of cider goes in. Now before we add anything else, I want to try and stir it. Again, be gentle. Make sure you don't agitate it and foam it up, because it will kind of act just like a beer. And you don't want it to foam over. So just a light stirring. Now, back in the day these were made pretty hard, so to compensate for that, we're going to add half a cup of brandy. If you like it harder, you can add more. But I'll be nice for the video and just follow the recipe this time around. And then, while it cooks, throw in 1 or 2 sticks of cinnamon. Recipe calls for 2. Sometimes you get the really big ones and you may just want to add 1. Now, if you have an issue with cinnamon, if you're allergic, clearly leave it out. If you just don't like the flavor, you can leave the sticks of cinnamon out. We forgot to put them in one year and it still came out delicious. But the cinnamon's really the only flavor I've ever ran into an issue with. And honestly, with everything else, I haven't found that it's overpowering at all. It's just really a background note. Now that you got everything in, stir it around a little bit. The beer will have calmed down, and the brandy and the apple cider and the maple syrup are actually going to make it a little easier to stir now. You need to let this cook on low for at least 3 hours to let it simmer and heat up and get everything mingled together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cook. Well, real quick, I'll give you a shot of it. And that's what it'll look like. Now I'm going to let this cook for a little bit. And once it's ready, I'll actually show you what it looks like when it's done, and I'll show you how we serve it. Be right back. Okay, it's been about 2 hours, and this has simmered nicely, and it is ready to go. So, all you need to do to serve, get you a cup, stir it up just a little, get you a good ladle full, put in your cup, and what we like to do is we like to hit it with a little whipped cream. And that's it. You got a nice warm cup of wassail. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Hope you all enjoy it as much as we do. Until next time, I'm Drake, and this has been Working Dragon Mystic. Happy holidays.